What's up guys, welcome back to a new video on East Coast Manga. So today I'm going to be doing my, I just kind of picked 5 volumes that I've been really enjoying recently that I want to tell you guys about that are not a part of the other kind of Viz Shonen Jump type volumes that I showed you guys in another video. This is just a general, can be from any company. I'm just really enjoying them, and I thought I should let you guys know in case you also maybe wanted to check these out. Alright, so like my other video, I want to ask you guys before you even see my picks, go down to the comments, let me know what manga you recommend right now. It could be any series, could be any, publisher, whatever, it does not matter. But something you are reading right now or you've read recently that you really recommend and that you thought has been really good. It doesn't even have to be something where, you've read a bunch of volumes, you could have read one volume of this series and really like it and recommend it. I'm going to start with the most recently read volume, which I actually finished last night, which is the Apothecary Diaries. This is, I'm going to be honest with you, this is not a manga I would have picked up off the shelf. I might have said this in my haul as well, so apologize for repeating myself, but I guess there's some new people. This is not something I would have just picked up off the shelf. This is not something I had any plan to read or even knew about. And after completing it, I will say I did really like it, and I do plan to continue buying the next couple volumes. I think technically there's 3 or 4 out, but the next one is coming out. I think there's 3 volumes and the 4th one's coming out like super soon. So there's not a lot of volumes. Even if there's 4 or 5, you can still easily catch up if you wanted to. I want to say they're all in stock, but I'm not like 100% sure, so I guess don't take my word for that, but I'm sure you could probably find them. They're not like super old or anything. This is a newer series releasing. This manga is, I would say, easy but also kind of difficult to explain. I would really say kind of just jump into it. I'll give you a little quick synopsis though. Basically, you have this woman who is taken in by, I guess, kind of like these human traffickers. They traffic her or send her to this kind of kingdom where basically within the inner circle there's the king, and then there's no other males except for a couple who, I believe the story says they have had their like manhood removed, which is kind of giving me Game of Thrones vibes in a certain sense, if you know what I'm talking about. I think it's the Dothraki. So yeah, there's not a lot of men, there's mostly women. The king basically has his like inner circle of women, and then he has like kind of the outer circle of women, which the outer circle is more the ones who are just doing like your very basic maid work. They don't really have like that many amenities or anything like that. But the main character, she is an apothecary, which has to do with like medicine and stuff like that. So she knows all about medicine. She's done like all this types of experimentation and stuff on herself. So she's super smart. She knows how to read and write, which a lot of the outer circle maids don't know how to do. But she basically kept her nose down, kept her head down, and didn't want to let on that she knew all this stuff, because whenever her wages come in, those like slave traders get most of it anyways. So she didn't want to get to be in a higher position where they're making more money off of her. But throughout volume 1, she is put in a position where she is actually kind of forced to go into a higher position. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I highly recommend you guys check this out. This one, I will say, the title, the cover, if I only looked at, like, if I didn't know anything about this, if I heard no recommendations, if I just saw this series in the Barnes & Noble store with this title and this cover, I'll be completely honest with you, I probably wouldn't pick it up. I would probably just not even bat an eye. I'd probably just keep looking. Not that it doesn't sound interesting, it just doesn't sound like something I would really be interested in. Same thing with Apothecary Diaries, same thing with Blue Period or Boys Run the Riot or Blue Flag. Like a lot of series, I look at the cover, I look at the title, and just, I don't know, it's just not really something that grabs my attention. But this is a series I am really enjoying. I have 5 volumes. I've read 2. I would have read and binged all of them, but volume 3 is low-key kind of hard to find. It's a little out of stock, so I had to buy it off Amazon from like a third-party seller, but luckily it wasn't too expensive. It was just a little, like maybe $2 or $3 over retail, so I'm sure that's going to be coming back in stock soon. Also apologize, I'm losing a little bit of natural light, especially with the clouds rolling in, so if there's a change in color, that's why. But the next volume I want to put on this list is My Dress Up Darling. And once again, listen, my opinions and my taste are ever changing, so now it's totally different. But with this with this cover, this does not reach out to me personally as something that I would want to pick up. Once again, if I knew nothing about it and I didn't hear any recommendations. But this series is really, really good. It's also interesting. So the story, the basis of the story, if you don't know, is you have these two high schoolers. One is a loner, not really very popular at all. I'm not even sure if he really has that many friends. The other one is like this super popular girl with a bunch of friends and everything, whatever. She's essentially a model almost. And the guy he's not like an ugly nerd or anything like that, don't get me wrong, but he kind of just keeps to himself, and he's really into these traditional Japanese dolls, which I believe it's his grandfather that he works with to make these. To me, the dolls are kind of creepy, but that's a whole other thing. I think they're very popular in Japan, or at least in the manga they make them look like they're very popular in Japan. So he loves making those, but it is kind of a strange hobby. Not a strange hobby, I don't want to put down any type of hobby, but it is a bit of a hobby that is not like super popular, I guess, with younger people. I don't know, but he kind of keeps that to himself. He doesn't really let a lot of people know about it and about his interest. And what she's really into is cosplaying, which she also does not really talk about or let a lot of people know. She kind of just plays it as like she's a model and she does modeling on the side and stuff like that after school. Short story short, they end up connecting after school. She finds out that he does the dolls, he finds out she does cosplay. She doesn't know how to sew or do anything like that. He knows how to do that really, really well. So they end up combining, and he ends up making these cosplay outfits for her, and he's super into her, and you guys are gonna have to read to find out if she's into him. But I don't know, I find it funny, I find it really interesting, kind of not knowing what's gonna happen next. Also, let me know down in the comments, I am kind of curious, you don't spoil anything, but let me know down in the comments, the volumes are wrapped, and I think either 1 or 2 was wrapped, and like I said, I read both those volumes, and whichever one was wrapped, there wasn't anything in there that should have been wrapped, and I know volumes 4 and 5 are wrapped on my shelf, so I'm kind of curious, like, how ecchi does this manga get? Once again, you don't have to go into details, just let me know down below if like this manga does kind of take a turn, and I am curious. The next manga, which I've made a whole separate video on, so I'm not even gonna get into it too deep. If you want my major analysis or whatever on it, then I'll link you to that video down in the description, but it is Blue Lock. And I know a lot of people have heard about this recently and probably have heard about it too much, but I had to throw it in here for anybody who is interested in this. I highly, highly, highly recommend Blue Lock. This first volume was fantastic. I've only heard great things from multiple people about this volume moving forward, the series moving forward, who have read ahead. I cannot wait for volume 2. And the best way I can describe this is soccer meets battle royale. I told you about that before, and I go into a little more detail in my video, but highly, highly recommend this. And the next volume, which there are 3 volumes out so far, also another one which when volume 1 released, I showed it in my haul probably, and people have talked about it a lot, but just want to reiterate how crazy this manga is. It is Record of Ragnarok. Volume 1, but like I said, there's 3 volumes out, so you can catch up pretty easily, as well as probably read it all in one night. It's not super text heavy, I would say it's more artwork heavy. For anyone who doesn't know, I'll give you a quick rundown. Basically, you have humans versus gods in this fight for humanity. Essentially, the gods say, okay, it's time, time's up, it's time to eliminate the human population. It just hasn't done what the gods wanted it to do, and it's more so like the Greek gods and just kind of stuff like that. But an option is brought up, instead of just kind of destroying humanity, okay, let's give them a chance. Let's take humanity's best warriors and have them fight against a god, and it'll be a tournament, and if the humans win, okay, then we'll back off and just let them do their thing. So they pick humans from all different eras of time, and I don't know, it's just really, really cool to see. The artwork's crazy, the story's crazy, so once again, highly recommend that. The next one, which this one is going to get mixed reviews. I'm throwing this in here because I really, really enjoyed volume 1. Maybe my opinion changes, but this is manga that I'm currently reading that I recommend, at least to check out. And this is not a new manga. There are a ton of volumes already released, and they're probably releasing even more. It is surprisingly a lot of volumes for a Viz Sig series, but this is Golden Kamuy. I think that's how you pronounce it. I have no idea. I haven't watched the anime if there is one. And I know there's certain people like the Prom G and HVL Manga who are not fans of this manga, but I also know there are people who are fans of this manga. Shout out to Manga Sloth and, well, everybody else. I don't know. I just know Manga Sloth was talking to me about this recently. But I am looking forward to getting even more volumes of this. I have a couple back there I need to read. But this is just something that, I don't know, it took me a long time to read this. I think I've had this one volume forever now, and because I heard mixed reviews, I just never really opened it up, and then I think a week or two ago, I'm finally like, alright, you know what? Read this. Let's check it out. Let's form my own opinion. And I really liked it. Also, people never, ever, ever talk about what this manga is actually about. Like, I went into this completely blind, which was surprising because like I said, there's like 20 volumes out, and I've heard people like show it in their hauls before and stuff, but I swear to God, I've never heard anybody actually give a description about this manga. So real quick, if you haven't already read this or you don't know anything about this, like I was at one point, basically this manga is about this man who comes out of, I believe, World War I on the Japanese side. So he comes out of the war and he's kind of just going on like, not even little adventures, but he's just kind of in the woods one day and he meets this man who tells him about this prisoner who, before he went to jail, left this like huge pile of gold he stole somewhere. And when he was in prison, he wanted to remember where he left it and how to get to it, because remember, this is after World War I, so GPSs and, you know, even like maps and stuff like that could be kind of hard to come by, and kind of remembering where you put things if you have never been there before could be kind of tough. So he took a bunch of prisoners and tattooed the map on their backs, probably promising them that they would get something in reward for it. And you learn that you're not able to actually read the map unless you have all of the people's tattooed backs. And he meets this girl to help him accomplish that mission, so they're kind of working together now. But in essence, this is a pretty adult manga with some pretty graphic content. But that's gonna be it for some manga that I'm reading right now that I recommend you guys to check out. If you have read this, leave it down in the comments what you think, as I'm super curious of, you know, always hearing what people think of certain manga that I'm really enjoying or I'm just reading right now. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I will catch you guys later. Peace out.